So the strongman side of things, let's get to the strongman. Oh, boy. So much going on in the strongman. Well, first off, as you guys know, or maybe you didn't, on my social media, I was predicting a lot of these strongman categories because I'm that guy. I'm the strength whisperer. I never get these things wrong. Actually, I learned a lot from Luke and CJ and Nick, of course, and getting more familiar with these athletes over all those pro picks that we did for Clash last year. But, a lot of these guys and gals weren't in any of those shows, and I was just using my ability to come up with these perfect picks, if you will. Honestly, guys, it's like throwing darts at the broadside of a barn. You can pick any of these athletes most any night. You're probably going to get two of them right. But I did pick Victoria Long to win the show. She won it. And listen, Victoria Long, I said it before. I said it in my award show. I said it to her on my interview with her because she's too humble to admit it. She is the best strong woman on the planet Earth, hands down by far. Victoria Long is I put Rhea Lovelace up there with her, of course. In the open class, Victoria Long and Rhea share a common denominator. There's them, and then there's everybody else. And that's no knock on any other woman out there. As a matter of fact, all these women, some of my friends, some I haven't met before, would more than likely agree with me. Victoria Long is what everybody is shooting to be in this sport right now. And mind you, there are some women coming up that are going to be on her heels very, very soon. And some of them were on their heels or on her heels this time around. Victoria had a tough go in day one. She took 7th place, I think, in day one. I think a lot of people counted her out. I didn't. I had zero doubt, Victoria, whether you believe me or not. I said it on day 2 before it even started. You are going to win this show. You're going to come back from 7th place because every one of the events that you were ready to do, I thought you were going to dominate in, and I thought you won 2 of the last 3 and took 2nd in one of the events. She is that good, guys. And if you haven't had a chance to watch Victoria Long live or on the live stream, you need to watch her. The whole world needs to watch her. And what I love about this too, guys, and this is something that analytically I can figure out a little bit with all my podcast interviews. When Victoria Long won the show, I think that night, 1,000 people listened to her interview on my podcast. I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. It means everything to the sport, though. And the fact that Victoria Long had 1,000 new fans follow her, or at least want to hear her story after that win. So, again, there's another one of those things like Mark and Melinda that for you guys out there that are curious when this sport's going to get bigger, guess what, guys? It's getting bigger. We're almost there. Excuse me. So Victoria won. Rebecca Roberts, she came in 2nd place. Hallelujah. And I'm going to tell you why. Rebecca Roberts should have been invited to this damn show in the first place. So guess what, Rogue? You got it right by default because you got her here because Nadia got hurt. Hallelujah. Because otherwise, that was probably one of the biggest debacles of this show was not having Rebecca Roberts in the show to start. So thank God we had a chance to see her compete as one of the biggest and best in the world because she is. And she should have been there. And I don't want to get on a rant about Rogue. I'm not going to do it. But these invitationals can be they could be problematic when they're not doing the right thing to invite the right people and they're only basing it off a popularity contest or who they think is good enough to compete. There needs to be some type of board of directors, but some type of committee or selection board, a group of 50 people. I mean, as many as you can get that are going to vote on a group of women, 20 deep if you want, to figure out which ones are going to be there or not. Because when I understand 2 individuals making these decisions, one of which has no business making these decisions. The other one, by default, I'll give it to him because he's a part of this sport, and I don't know how big his voice is there. I'll let you guys do the research on who those people are. They're not getting it right. They're not. It's easy to get the guys right to some degree. They're getting it right with the guys at Rogue Invitational. The question is, did they get it right at the Arnold Invitational? I don't think they did either, and we'll talk about the guys here in a second. But certainly with the women, they didn't get it right. Rebecca Roberts should have been a part of that invite. Now, I know just about every woman that competed in Strong Women, and I love them all. I got no problem with any of them. They all did a great job. I think we can argue Tomorrow probably shouldn't have been there now, even though I said on prior shows that she got an invite. She should be proud of that. We shouldn't take anything away from her, and I still stand by that. She was offered an opportunity to compete at the Rogue or the Arnold Classic, and I'm not going to take that away from her. I don't think there's anything wrong, and I think what I was trying to say, and I'm not backtracking at all here because I told you how I thought she was going to finish. I said this 3 shows ago. I said that she's probably not going to do well at all, and she's probably going to take dead last, and she did. That's exactly what happened. She shouldn't have been there for that reason from a competitive standpoint. Now, she was brought there to compete, and I have no problem with invitationals and the way they work in that respect, because we need new blood in the sport, and it's always nice to see that. Was she vetted properly? Absolutely fucking not. She absolutely was not vetted properly. Tomorrow, I'm sure you'll never want to talk to me, never want to do an interview with me, and honest to God, I envy, or I'm a big fan of yours as a power lifter. I'm a big fan of yours as what you're good at doing. So, as this is my plea to you, I'm just speaking on behalf of the sport here and what we need to see, because I don't think you would think any differently about it from the outside in, and you were given an opportunity to compete and you tried it. It didn't work, and it's not your fault again, but she didn't perform well. And there's another opportunity for somebody that could have been there or should have been there that was lost. Now, I understand why Rogue did it, because she's the most popular person out there, and they gave her an opportunity to compete because she's fairly strong, she's a good puller, right? And she's got a huge following on social media, so they're doing what any business would do. They're cutting their losses a bit by what she can bring back, not what she's going to bring to. That's the wrong way to go about strength competitions. It's the wrong way to go about sports competitions in general. It doesn't mean there's not a place for her somewhere. Maybe she just done a Record Breakers again or something like that. She would have gotten just as big of an audience. It wouldn't have taken anything away from the show. But that's not what happened. She didn't do well. So, sorry to see that. But everybody else did kind of according to Hoyle. I thought that it went kind of the way it was supposed to go. I think Inez took 4th, or Olga took 4th. Inez took 5th, vice versa. I can't remember how that played out. It was very, very close. Andrea Thompson, of course, I had her going number 2. So, yeah, again, very, very close. I don't think anybody was going to touch Victoria Long when the dust finally cleared. So 2-3 to me was 1-2 in any other category without Victoria in it. I thought Sam Bellevue I'd love seeing Sam. I ran into her and Max prior to the event. She was looking thick as thieves. I mean, she put some muscle on. She wasn't fucking around. She wanted to do well at this show. Obviously, as a middleweight that was invited to it, I thought she did great, guys. If you had a chance to watch the show, Sam was fighting an uphill battle there, but she stuck it out. She was one of my highlights of the show. Of course, all the women did great. I think the only downside of the entire event was that stupid stone throw. Could we never not do that? And any of you amateur promoters out there that were getting the idea to do that because you thought it sounded cool, please tell me you watched it and you said, oh, fuck that, we're never doing this again, because I know Rogue should have never done that event. That was ridiculous. I told you guys it would look like a stone plopping on the ground. Everybody thought that stone was going to fly through the air, some great feat of strength, like Superman threw it or something. Obviously, the strongest men in the world tried to throw it, and they threw it, 10 fucking feet? I mean, Tom Stoltzby could just drop that from where he's standing, and it should go 10 feet. That's my point. That was a stupid event. And I'm glad it didn't cost, at least I don't think it did. I didn't backtrack the points. But I'm glad it didn't cost anybody a position on the podium. Or maybe it did. And see, I don't think the winners would have changed either way. But in any case, yeah, the stone throw. That's crazy. So shout out to Victoria Long again. Let's get it right next to your Rogue when it comes to your invites. There's a lot of women out there that deserve a shot at this. Speaking of which, a woman who's going to get a shot at this next year is Erin Murray. Erin won the heavyweight open class. And, I'm going to say this. Erin Murray is a fucking beast. I don't think enough people talk about Erin as a strong woman, and they need to start. I think she's one of the most talented strong women in the nation. She's gone down a class to be a champion or to compete at a high level. She's come up a class to do that. And now she's come up to the open class and proved that she could beat every amateur in the country and get her pro card. And not only that, get an invite now to the Invitational next year. at the Arnold Classic. So congratulations, Erin Murray. I don't think anybody trains harder than Erin. She's putting it out there day in and day out. I watch her Instagram. She's a tenacious fighter, and she's always putting forth 100% effort. So she got exactly what she deserved. And again, I'm a fan of Erin's. As a strong woman, I think she's an up-and-comer. I think Erin, at this point, could put on 20 pounds if she wanted to and be one hell of an open heavyweight, or she could drop 20 pounds and be one hell of a middleweight. I don't think it matters where she goes. She's going to be athletic, and she's going to be strong. So congratulations, Erin. You're one of my definite highlights of the weekend for sure. The guys. A little drink of water here. Finish up. Right, guys? The guys, Hooper, Mateus, Thompson are your top three. I picked it Hooper, Mateus, Mitchell. Or did I say Mitchell, Mateus? I can't remember now. Mitchell took fourth, I think. I want to say that. To no surprise, Mitch Hooper. Not his sophomore year yet. I know Nick O'Hara. It is still his freshman year. And I don't think anybody in recent history has had a bigger year than Mitch Hooper when it comes to all the competitions he's done and podiumed at every single one of them. So that was really special to see, and to no surprise. He pulled, I wrote it down somewhere. He pulled 445-pound deadlift perfectly. 3 white lights. Bobby Thompson won the deadlift with 447. He was roughly, what was that, under 100 pounds shy of the world record. That's Thor's world record. And Bobby Thompson, shout out to you, brother. I don't know why people don't talk about you more, including myself, because you are a fucking juggernaut. The shit that you do and what you did at that Arnold Classic, if people didn't know who you were going into that show, which I think everybody did, you world record, American log record, this as big of a face and name that you've been in the sport now for the last few years, they need to recognize you now if they don't. Because in all honesty, you dominated log, you dominated deadlift. I don't know where your weakness is at, Bobby. I would guess it might be just a little athleticism and going against some of these bigger, taller guys in some of these events. But, man, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I love watching you compete right now. America's Strongest Man, I was there to see that victory, and I was there to see that third-place podium finish. And that was really cool to see. Still trying to deal with this cold, guys. And, of course, we got Mateus. And Mateus was an interesting one because he's been off a bit, dealing with a lot of injuries. Nobody knew really what to expect to him, but knew if he was going to come back healthy that he'd have a chance to podium and a chance to win the show. I agree. I agreed with it, and he performed well, took second place. Really had a strong push towards the end. I think it's a new world record timber frame carry, if I'm not mistaken. And that was fun to see. Mitch, of course, did a great job in that as well. Anyhow, kind of finished off like a lot of people were anticipating. However, I will say the Stoltmans, no business being there anymore. Listen, fuck. I hate it when I have opinions that suck and people don't like it. See, I try to get along with everybody. I do. I really do. But are the Stoltmans just sort of a, like just sort of a fun sort of part of Strongman now? Or are we really looking outside of the, I guess, Tom winning it 2 years in a row? What else do they do? I mean, they don't really finish where it's almost like they're invited as a package anymore. Wherever Tom goes, Luke goes, or vice versa. But I'm not so sure they deserve to be at the Arnold Classic. And I say that, and a lot of you guys are going to get pissed at me, but history has kind of proven that they don't really put forth a lot of... Is it effort, guys? I mean, what are we seeing out there when it comes to those guys? I know I'll never get them on for an interview now, not like I would or was. But how does the world's strongest man shit the bed at the Arnold? How does he do that? Is it just a fun place to hang out, go to Columbus and not give a shit? I think what I'm getting at here is I can think of a bunch of athletes across the board that deserve a shot to be at the heavyweight level competing at the Arnold Classic and having the opportunity of a lifetime. And I'm not saying the Stoltmans in this case, but for any athlete for that matter, to take a show of this caliber lightly and just like, whatever happens, happens. That's not the kind of competition we want to see. And I feel like we got that a little bit. I really do. Because I'm still scratching my head here. Either A, you don't deserve to be there because you're not qualified to be there, which we can't say that, right? So then what is it? I mean, what prevents you from, I'm not just saying like not making the podium because it was a close call. They were fucking eaten alive. And I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit bitter about the way that our super heavyweight open men's class on a national and international level right now is being represented. I think there's a lot of guys out there that deserve opportunity that are being looked over day in and day out. I think it's the biggest travesty in strongman that's not being talked about the least, because I think a lot of our young, lighter classes have always been given, or more in more recent years have been given kind of the green light and this big following of this big push of support behind them, which I myself have been part of. And the super heavyweight class, that open class, has kind of just been left in the dark. And it shouldn't be. I mean, we have some great super heavyweight open guys in America that deserve a shot at competing at this level. But if they don't get to the Arnold, and they don't get to the Rogue, or they don't get to World's Strongest Man, or they don't get to Giants, who the hell is representing these guys out there? Now, I don't know Colin Bryce. I'm not going to get in his business. I don't know. But he's got his top 10 guys. He's going to put them everywhere he goes. So what about every other motherfucking super heavyweight in this whole sport? Where do they compete? Don't tell me America's Strongest Man. Don't tell me, I don't know, the Rainier or the Gabe Pena show from the Beer Stone. Don't tell me that. Those are all great shows, but those are not high-level shows that represent that open heavyweight class like it should. We see the same old faces over and over again. Yeah, and they perform well. I get it. They all perform decent. But don't we want to be wowed a little bit? You know who wowed me at that show? Tom Evans. 5th place. He gave it every fucking thing he had. Why did he do that? Because last year he won the Arnold Amateur. This year he's standing up there with giants. And he's a giant himself. And he's been given an opportunity to just do something he never probably thought he'd have a chance to do. And he let it all hang out. I respect the hell out of that guy. And I talked to him on the elevator after the first day of competition. He was on cloud 9 because he was doing something that every one of us out there would love to have the opportunity to do in the strength community. And there's more guys like Tom out there. I can go on and on and on about all the guys that I can name off. It's time to start giving those guys a fucking opportunity. And I'm sick and tired of seeing the same old faces that give us the same old content. You know, that's all I'm saying. And these are all great athletes. I'm not knocking them at all. Some of them surprised me more than they surprised me any other year. Rob Kearney, I had no clue Rob Kearney was going to do what he did. Rob, you cease to amaze me sometimes. World's Strongest Gay, by the way. I don't know if anybody knew that. I'm kidding. Everybody knows that. You're the world's strongest gay. I like you because you're a strongman, by the way. Not that I don't like you because you're gay. I'm just saying. I think you're amazing strongman. What you did up there, fuck, that deadlift. Nobody hitches it better than Rob Kearney, I'll tell you right now. Very strong. In that blog press, very strong. So, you know, there are guys that I get that you don't see compete often that do very, very well. But it just would be nice to see some fresh faces. I'm not suggesting Rob shouldn't have been there. I'm just throwing out an example there. I mean, of course, again, then he performs, right? I mean, so, you know, I get it, guys. It's an enigma to some degree. I just think the super heavyweights in general are being left out. And that, to me, is a shame. I think more people need to be included in some of these bigger competitions, at least be given the opportunity to. Maybe not one spot. How about 3? Is that asking too much? 7 of your favorites, and then, or what the so-called favorites are out there, and 3 new guys. What's wrong with that? They're certainly capable of doing the weight that these guys are doing. There's no doubt about that. I was at America's Strongest Man. Those motherfuckers could press a log. I'll tell you right now. There are several of them that could get the job done. Of course, we see some of the Trey was there, of course. So was Bobby, but there were other guys as well. All right, I'm sorry. That was a rant. And that was no knock on any of those. I know they're going to take it that way. If they ever heard the show, not that I think they would fucking care to listen to my show. But if they did, don't have thin skin. Do not have thin skin. I'm not a hater. I just think there's a different way to look at these sports sometimes, and you just have to do it. And one thing about the strength community, and strongman in particular, and even powerlifting for that matter, I could talk about that all night too if I had something to say about powerlifting, which I will this week, but not tonight. Things need to be said. People are afraid to say them out there because everybody's afraid. Everybody's got thin skin, and they're going to somehow be shunned, or they're not going to be liked, or not be invited to a show, or, you know, they're not going to be one of the people that they support maybe won't like them anymore. Fuck all that. Say what you got to say. That's the way these sports grow. That's the way we all have conversation. We have opinion. We start a conversation. We start talking about things, and that's when change starts happening. We can't just stay quiet about this stuff, guys. It's not what we're not meaning to insult or offend anybody. It's just things that just have to be said. And listen, I know I'm not the only one thinking that. I didn't talk to anybody. I'm just saying that I know some people are out there right now going, yeah, I was thinking the same thing, because I think it's pretty obvious. Oh, one more thing on Strongman. Well, two more things. Let's talk about this real quick. Victoria Long, deadlift, loved it. 641 pounds, world record. She is the sole world record holder. Despite what the judges say tomorrow, Wolcott did not lock that out. I will not get in a conversation about that today. Everybody saw it. That's all that needs to be said about that. Go watch the video. It was bullshit. They gave her something they shouldn't give her. Another example of standards in the sports. Shout out to you. World's Strongest Opinion and Strong Personalities. We've had this conversation. Where was the standard in the judging in that deadlift? It was non-existent. Victoria Long, you are the champion, and you are the record holder in the elephant bar deadlift. Strongman. Love-hate relationship right now. Nick Camby, great fucking job. I don't care, 7th place. Day 2, brother. There ain't nobody wants him more than this guy. He's proved it in his 105 class. He won every fucking title he can win. There's other guys like that in that 105 class. Talking to you, Andrew Clayton, you're another one of those guys that is not letting anything stand in his way right now. Nick Camby, you did a great job. Nick's first year at the heavyweight, well, I think he competed there once before, but making an effort to get on the Rogue stage next year, that was his pathway. He's done enough in the 105 class. Now he wants to kick ass in another class and be recognized on another level of the sport. He was close, and don't count that guy out. He's just getting used to that body weight he put on. Trust me. I suspect he's going to get even bigger and faster next year, and we might see Nick Camby make a run at that Rogue stage in 2024, right? Yep, 2024. Oscar Zolakowski won it. Guy from Poland. That was nice to see. He was crying up there. He was just so beside himself that he won the heavyweight open class. I think it resonated with everybody watching him. It meant the world to him. He put out, just a lot of emotion when he won that award. And he'll be there next year competing against all those big guys we just talked about. So there'll be a new face in the heavyweight open class at the Arnold Classic. And this guy's got some ability for sure. Those guys are moving around some heavyweight. And this guy's got some growing to do, I'll tell you. I saw him in the back. He's a giant man, but you could tell he's got some growing to do. So he'll be fun to watch. Lucas Hatton, by the way. Lucas Hatton lost to Oscar by 1/1600ths of a point. So, Lucas, brother, I know what you're thinking. Can it get any worse than that? The answer is no. So you're only going up from here. At this point, you're going to be in line to win that crown, as I suspect you will, or you'll get there another way this year. And I can't wait to see you do it, because Lucas is another example of somebody in that class that needs an opportunity as soon as he gets his pro card and as soon as he's ready to compete at that level. And that's what we want to see, right? That's what I was just talking about. Let's not forget about these guys that win this shit every year. They're giant men, strong men that deserve a chance to compete at a high level. We need to give them more opportunity. Bill Kendall, 105 class, just lost. Friend of mine. Controversial speaking, I don't know. Maybe a rep was missed. Maybe it wasn't. I heard it both ways. I'll let you go back and judge that. Bill, I'm a big fan of yours, brother, so I got no doubt you're going to do whatever you want to do in this sport anyhow. You're still green behind the ear. I mean, there's a lot of growing left in your body. You staying a 105er is the biggest problem I see. You're going to be putting on some weight, so your biggest problem is going to be cutting that weight, I think. And you're going to be a guy to reckon with year after year after year. Who else? I think that's it. I met Joe Moss. I love Joe from California. Soft-spoken guy. 400-pounder. Another big, super heavyweight guy. I love those guys. I tell you, I love them. I don't do enough with them, and I need to start doing more with them. So shout out to you, Joe.